All right, so we're going to go ahead and finish up the foldable we started on percent proportion. So it's the same paper you were using before, and we called it pit stop A before. We're going to go ahead and finish it for pit stop B. Now we're taking that same proportion that we used to solve these questions up here, and we're just going to apply it to questions that are worded more like a real life problem, because percents are actually something you will use a lot. They're used all the time, especially during the time of year when we're talking about sales and stuff like that. You're going to see a lot of percents as discounts, percents as sale items, and things like that. So it's important to know how to apply the proportion to those real life situations. So here's an example. What is 12% tip on $24? So first thing you need to know is what a tip is. A tip is just when you have some kind of service done, like somebody brings food to your table you ordered at a restaurant, and when you leave, you have to pay for your meal. But in addition to that, if they were a good waiter, then you usually leave some extra money for the waiter to tell them they did a good job. So that part, that little extra part that you leave for them is called the tip. And generally, it's accepted in most cases that that tips for things like in a restaurant, or maybe if you got your hair cut, or somebody I don't know, takes your bag at a restaurant. Generally, tips are about 15%. So this is a little low, but it's a good one to start with. We're going to find the 12% tip on $24. So maybe you spent $24 on a meal at a restaurant and you want to give your waiter a 12% tip. This is the kind of situation we're talking about. So if I'm going to use my proportion to solve for the answer, I'm going to start the same way. 100 is on bottom, the percent goes on top. So I can see here that this is the percent. It's got the percent symbol. And then I have to figure out, all right, well, what is 24? Is 24 the tip part? Is it the part of the total amount of my meal? Or is it the whole amount? So 24 was what I spent on my meal. So that's the whole. The tip is just going to be a piece of that. So that's the part that I'm looking for. Then to solve it, I multiply 24 times 12. This is 8, and then 4, and then 4, and then 2. So 288. Still need to divide by 100. So 100, I'll go into 288 2 times. Subtract, I get 88, add a decimal, bring down a 0. 100, I'll go into 880 8 times. Subtract 800, I have 80 left, bring down one more 0. 100, I'll go into 800 8 times. All right, so I've solved this and found that it was equal to 2.88. If I go back and look at my problem, it's a tip, right? It's 12% tip on $24. So it's not really just $2.88, it's $2.88. This would be the part that you left at the table after paying for your meal. You're going to pay the $24 because that's what the food cost. Okay, but and then in addition, you're going to leave that for the waiter. All right, so what did we find here? We were finding the part. All right, in the next example, it says John saved $3 on a shirt that was 25% off. What was the original price? Again, we need to start by trying our boxes. 100 goes on bottom here. I'm going to look for a percent because it's 25% off, so that's going to go up here. All right, and let's think about what they're asking here. John saved $3 on the shirt that was 25% off, so it was on sale. $3 is what he saved, not the cost of the shirt. What we want to know is the cost of the shirt. How much did it originally cost before he saved the $3? So what is the $3? It's a portion, it's a piece of the original price. So the $3 is the part. X is what I'm going to use for the whole. It's the cost of the shirt, right? So I'm trying to figure out he saved $3 off of how much? What did it start as? When I multiply 3 times 100, I get 300, and then I'm going to divide it by 25. So 25 will go into 30 once. When I subtract, I get 5. Bring down the 0. 25 will go into 50 2 times. And I'm done. All right, so 12. I want to go back and interpret what that means. What is 12? Well, it was the price of the shirt. So I want to write that as a price. It was $12. It was off, 25% off, so he saved $3. If I wanted to know what he actually cost him, okay, I would have to take away the $3 from the $12. So he actually paid the $9, all right? But we're not asking you to do that yet. All right, so what did we find here? We found the whole, the original price. All right, in this last example, I'm going to start again with boxes. It says 22 students in a class of 55 are in band. what percent of students are in band. All right, so I'm going to fill in my 100 and then look for a percent. In this case, 22 and 55, there's no percent sign there. Neither one of these are percents. In fact, the question I'm answering is what is the percent? So that's going to be my X. So 22 in a class of 55, 22 is part of the whole group, which is 55. All right, so 22 over 55, and then I'm going to multiply. 22 times 100 is 2200. And then lastly, I want to divide by 55. 55 will go into 220 4 times. And I get 0, bring down the 0. And then 5 will go into 0 times. All right, so X equals 40. And then I want to make sure I'm answering the question. So what percent of students are in band? 40%. Go ahead and write that as a percent. And fill this in. We're finding the percent. All right, so again, in this video, we're talking about how you apply that same proportion we used earlier to solve problems that are more real world, and they're applicable, especially this time of year. You're also going to see percents used for things like tax and interest and stuff like that. But basically, this proportion doesn't change. You're just using it in different ways. And sometimes you're finding part, sometimes whole, sometimes percent. So, all right, good luck with that.